What's going on, everybody? Today I'm over here in the passenger seat. My training Noah's driving. We are driving through Atlanta, and I got a couple questions. So people ask me, they want me to explain personal conveyance. So I want to go over that in this video. So this video is about use of personal conveyance, illegal use and legal use. I hope this video helps you out. If it does, I need you to smash that like button. Hey, if you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. That way you can always get every video that I put out with that bell notification, and then you can continue to stay educated. I'm going to try to teach you things the CDL school will not teach you. All right, let's go into it. Personal conveyance. What is personal conveyance? Personal conveyance is the use of a commercial vehicle that's not being used for work. It's for personal use. All right, so you can use personal conveyance. In a vehicle, when you're driving a commercial vehicle, you're only allowed to drive 11 hours a day. You're not allowed to work over 14. You have what you call it hours of service. But beyond that, if you're in your commercial vehicle and you want to go get something to eat, you're allowed to use personal conveyance to drive somewhere to get something to eat. You're allowed to go to and from lodging, to entertainment. If you say, hey, I want to get off here and I'm going to go over here to visit this site or whatever, you're allowed to use personal conveyance for that. So the questions that common questions people ask me is, what if I'm loaded? Can I do that? Yes, you can do that if you're loaded. The reason why is you're not, just because you got goods in there, they're not being transported, they're not en route. You're allowed to use it for that. That's what personal conveyance is for. But personal conveyance is also abused, and here's where DOT will look, and here's where they'll get you at. All right, remember this. You're not allowed to use it to gain ground. So let's say I'm getting off here at this exit 273, and I get off here and I park. I get up next morning, I've only slept 9.5 hours. I need to do 10 hours before I can actually start. And I'm like, well, I'm going to use personal conveyance to get to the next restaurant to eat. Yeah, you're using it for that, but guess what? You're supposed to come back to where you started when you use personal conveyance. You can't use it to further. You see what I'm saying? So you're 100 miles away from your destination. You can't drive personal conveyance for 50 miles and get 10 miles away. You're not allowed to make it more time. It's for off-duty use only. It's recording driving, but off-duty personal conveyance driving is what it is. So let's say, for example, I'm at a truck stop, and I get up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I need to use the bathroom. Man, there ain't no bathroom at the truck stop. They're closed. And I use personal conveyance to go up the road. Now, legally, I'm supposed to come back to where I started from. Or let's say I'm in I want to go see a movie and I'm on my 34-hour break. I can use PC to go to the movie theater, go get my hair cut, get something to eat. And I'm riding around town, not burning my clock up because I'm using personal conveyance. That's what it's for. Now, the rules also say, if you go into the website, it also states, and this is a exception here, if you run out of hours at the shipper or receiver and you're in the dock and you run out of hours, then you can use personal conveyance to go to the next safe haven. Now, if you're driving down the road and you run out of hours just driving, you're not allowed to use personal conveyance to get to the next safe haven. You can just, instead of just sitting on the side of the road, you have to notate there's no parking, you violate your hours, and this is what I was told by a DOT officer, and then you go to the next safe haven, but you put in your notes, ran out of hours, went to next safe haven. Not personal conveyance. That's illegal use of personal conveyance. So you can use it to go to the next safe haven if you're told by an officer to move. Let's say you're parked somewhere you shouldn't be in the office, you got to leave. If you're asked by a shipper to leave, if you run out of hours at a shipper, those are times you can use it. But other than that, you can't use it to further yourself down the road. Does that make any sense? You understand that, Noah? Yeah. Okay, good deal. So that's what that PC. Now, your company can say you only can use it so much per week. They can limit it. Like our company limited us to say 45 minutes a day. If I used it 45 minutes, I couldn't use it an hour. It would automatically throw me on the driving. So every company can set the standard for it. Personal conveyance also on the website I was reading a while ago also states that we can use it from our workplace. From our terminal to our home, from our drop yard to our home. So if you're commuting to the house to and from drop loads, you can use personal conveyance. long as you're going back to that drop load or back to that terminal start. Now, let's say my terminal's in Atlanta and I got to go to Florida and I live halfway between. I can't just say I'm on personal conveyance all the way to the Florida line because I live in the Florida line if I'm delivering in Florida. I could do it, but then I got to come back to Atlanta to start. You see what I'm saying? So be careful with that PC time because they will get you. They'll go back to the audit you and they'll ask you, hey, did you unload? Did you sign any bills? Any receipts during that personal conveyance time? If you did, they're going to get you for illegal use of logs or illegal use of PC. It's called falsifying logs. I had a trainee of mine. He was driving, and what he did was he stopped somewhere, and he got up the next morning. He wanted to go to the gym, so he thought he could use personal conveyance. So he drove it for about 30 miles, went to the gym, then started his clock. Legally, he could have done it, but he was supposed to go back, but he didn't. He followed himself 30 miles, and then he went on. And that's when it becomes illegal use of logs. They went back 4 days on it and found that. So when they see PC, they're going to go through it. They're going to ask you. They're going to look to see if you had any time stamps or anything on your bills. Let's say you're at a dock, and I use PC a lot. Like I do when I need to. Like let's say I'm at a dock and I need to go get something to the restroom, or I need to use the bathroom, get something to eat. I'll PC and come back. But you know, did I unhook that trailer during that PC time? That's when it gets a little technical because you're actually working. Or did I go in there and get bills signed? Did I back up to a dock using it? So these are things you got to think about when you're using PC. Make sure you're staying legal and staying compliant. You don't want that on. You don't want to use the logs on your DAC, and you don't want it. You don't want to show it on your DAC. You don't want to pay the ticket. You know what I'm saying? So that's the definition of personal conveyance. There's a lot of information on it on the state's website if you want to check it out. I'll put a link to that below. But I appreciate y'all watching. Thank you for subscribing to my videos. It's Trucking Live with Shawn. Let's get it. Oh, one more thing before I go. Are you a truck driver? Are you looking for a good company to work for? You come over to Rosedale Transport. Their number is 706-226-1003. They're a great company to work for. I started here 15 years ago myself. I worked here for 3.5 years. I left, but I came back after going to Heartland and a few other carriers. I realized that Rosedale is where it's at. I mean, these people are nice. They're like family. They treat you like a human being, not a number. They give me consistent miles. I get miles every week. I got new equipment, 90% drop and hook. Operations manager used to be a truck driver. Dispatchers used to be safety manager. Everybody there, most of them were truck drivers. They understand how it works. They understand what we go through out here on the roads. It just makes sense. If you want to do it, might as well do it at Rosedale Group. 706-226-1003 because they get you home too. I get home every week. I still get 28 to 3,200 miles. Get it. If you're a new truck driver, they hire you right out of school too. You got to call Tina at 706-226-1003. I'll put a link down in the description also how to apply for the job. But if you do, make sure you tell me boy Shawn sent you. Trucking Live with Shawn. Let's get it.